Hey everybody, what's good? So here I am minding my own business, doing some character design work when this video popped up. I wanted to share it with you guys because I think it's a topic that the creative community isn't talking about nearly as much as they should. First, let me get you caught up on this artist versus AI thing. See, a couple of months ago, this professional illustrator and YouTuber by the name of Ergo Josh made a video on how he leverages AI to make his art process more efficient.
Please share this with everyone that likes art and is concerned with AI art so that you can see that there is a lot more to this discussion and that we shouldn't be so divisive and calling each other names and villains and trying to say someone is an artist or isn't an artist just because they mention that they use a certain tool that you don't agree with. I'm not happy with that, and I want to hold everyone to a higher standard so that we can respect each other more in this community and move further and have more artists, because the more artists in the world, I believe the better the world will be.
The art community went nuts. You should follow the link that I'm going to leave here for you so you can watch the entire video, but also read all of the comments. People were very, we'll say, passionate about his stance, so much so that he felt like he needed to release this video.
Now, almost all of you that responded not only rejected that idea completely, but you expressed your extreme distaste in AI. The response was so intense that I decided, instead of making the video with a focus on the artistic techniques and strategies I used, I would also spend a lot more time sharing how I took specific measures to ensure that it wasn't infringing on any individual artist's work. Now, some people misinterpreted or straight up disagreed with that, saying that any use of AI whatsoever is still full-on plagiarism, and that I still disagree with.
Then Adam Duff from Lucid Pixel came to his defense.
Hey guys, it's Ed from Lucid Pixel. About a week ago, Ergo Josh posted a video called How Real Artists Use AI. And it was met with a lot of anger. I, the next day, or shortly after, posted a video and a 3-hour podcast following that video, jumping to his defense, feeling like people were kind of unfairly judging him for this and maybe misinterpreting him. So I posted a video trying to kind of help people understand where Josh's headspace, of course, not being Josh, not knowing what his true intentions are and not being able to speak for him, but you know, we're in similar positions, and I've been following for long enough to say, hey, the guy's not evil. He's not trying to ruin anybody. He's an established artist who's been working his ass off for a long time.
And now, it's my turn to explain why artists need to wake up to what's happening. Because apparently it wasn't enough of a wake-up call when CEOs admitted to not caring if you paid your rent or not. Let me add to that by showing you this.
We are a country that is being beaten on every front, economically, militarily. There is nothing that we do now to win. We don't win anymore. Our taxes are too high. I've come up with a tax plan that many people like very much. It's going to be a tremendous plan. I think it'll make our country and our economy very dynamic. But taxes too high, wages too high. We're not going to be able to compete against the world. I hate to say it, but we have to leave it the way it is. People have to go out, they have to work really hard, and they have to get into that upper stratum. But we cannot do this if we are going to compete with the rest of the world. We just can't do it.
And notice, Fox News. So I don't want to hear it. That was 8 years ago. This video from 7 years ago popped up, and I think it will help explain what I think the creative community isn't talking about nearly as much as they need to. Let's get into it.
American workers are losing jobs because of a law designed to help the job market. The H-1B visa bill was written.
Pay attention to what they're saying. Americans are losing their jobs because they are going outside America for workers. Basically everyone, when you talk about jobs and aliens coming, whether illegal or not, doesn't even really matter, but aliens are coming here taking American jobs. This is a law, or specifically a visa, that lets smart people from outside the country come here to get jobs. So when I jump on my stump and I start saying that we need to fix the education system, we need to fund education, that none of this would be a problem if our American kids were educated enough to fill these spots. Then they wouldn't have to go anywhere else. That's my assumption. We're only 6 seconds into this thing and it's already pissing me off. Notice that they have money set aside for outside people that aren't necessarily Americans to take these jobs. Mind you, I'm not upset with the people that are accepting jobs. Generally speaking, people are looking for work because they want to feed their families and they have bills to pay. I have a lot of friends from Silicon Valley that I used to work with that aren't from here. And then me, as a Cuban, Puerto Rican, Dominican, I'm standing in these meetings and in Silicon Valley, and I'm looking around and I'm like, wow, almost no one looks like me. And these are good paying jobs. These are good paying jobs. So when you guys get to talking about people from South America and you guys are talking about Mexicans stealing jobs and stuff, your vision of the possible work is that limited to where you're complaining about picking apples. These people are literally building the future. Everything that you are slowly but surely being convinced that you need in your life, all these computers, all this software, all these social media apps, all that stuff, these guys are building that. Our kids are not ready to build this. So that should be setting off alarm bells. Like, the fact that H-1B visas is a thing just drives me crazy. It should be American people taking these jobs, but no, let's hear them out. Let's hear them out. Maybe I'm overreacting, but let's hear them out.
1990, it lets companies recruit foreign talent for emerging engineering and scientific jobs. But loopholes allow
Engineer and science
outsourcing
jobs.
of American jobs to foreign workers, often at lower pay. Bill Whitaker spoke to some Americans displaced by H-1B visa workers for Sunday's 60 Minutes. They say they were asked to train workers who would take their jobs.
It wasn't called training your replacement. It was called knowledge transfer.
Craig D'Angelo worked for...
And notice how they code it. They make everything more palatable. Oh, you're just exchanging. But what am I getting in exchange? You're getting your ass laid off is what you're doing.
Northeast Utilities, now called Eversource, and was one of 220 IT workers replaced by H-1B visa employees. D'Angelo says his replacement, a worker from India, told him he was making half D'Angelo's salary with no benefits.
I didn't get laid off for lack of work. I got laid off because somebody cheaper could do my job.
Insert AI. Insert the fact that AI can do it faster and cheaper. Even the people that are supporting their family by coming here and taking these Silicon Valley jobs, even they are going to be out of work soon.
We met with this group of workers who all had to train replacements. Leo Pereiro had just received high performance reviews from Disney. When he was called into a personnel meeting, he expected a raise and a promotion.
And instead,
And let's remember, it was the Disney CEO that was the one that said let's wait for them to not pay their bills, or let's wait for them to not pay their rent.
I was given the news that in 90 days, my job was over, and I had to train my replacement. Never in my life did I imagine, until this happened at Disney, that I could be sitting at my desk and somebody would be flown in from another country,
Right.
sit at my same desk and chair, and take over what I was doing. It was the most humiliating and demoralizing thing I've ever gone through in my life.
It sucks.
Bill Whitaker is with us. So how do companies explain this?
Well, the companies will all tell you that this is standard industrial procedure for helping to boost efficiency and lower costs. But I will say in the case of Disney there, CEO Bob Iger did say that having his employees train their replacements was a mistake, and that he feels sorry for that and he apologized for that.
Oh, what a great guy.
Most of them were still out of work.
I mean, how has the H-1B visa program changed? Is it being misused?
It was put in place to help American companies get the best global talent. You know, be able to bring somebody from a foreign country if you couldn't find that employee here in the U.S. But there are loopholes in the law that allow the companies to go out and get someone who's not especially a special engineer or employee, but someone who's cheaper.
Notice how these folks, because they're cheaper, they don't have to be as good as, say, when you go on an interview. They want you to know Photoshop, they want you to know how to draw, they want you to know how to do 3D modeling, they want you to know Python, they want you to know all this stuff. But then they're just going to turn around and have you replaced by someone that they can get cheaper.
And so you're able to bring in these foreign workers who are here primarily because they cost less than the Americans.
I love the phrase knowledge transfer bill. I think that's
How about
very,
that?
yeah,
Great euphemism, huh?
very good euphemism. Are there any plans to close the loopholes
in Congress?
Well, there are a number of bills being discussed in Congress. One in the Senate is a little further along than the others, but so far, no movement on that.
Is there one country in particular where most of these H-1B visas are granted?
Most of the H-1B visa workers are coming from India. And I would
Like
just like to say
70% or something.
70%. And I just would like to say that over the past few weeks, we've had a number of violent incidents with Americans shooting Indian workers. One was killed and was saying, "Get out of our country, stop taking our jobs," that sort of thing. The Indian workers will tell you that when they were recruited, they thought they were these special employees. They were coming over here to fill jobs that nobody else could fill. They had no idea that they were coming over to be cheap labor. And
so even they're getting lied to. Let's go ahead and put this out there. Stop resorting to violence that doesn't do anything but get you put in jail. Can we stop? These are just people that are trying to feed their kids, and you're gonna shoot them for doing exactly what you're trying to do. You're putting people in harm's way that don't even deserve it. If you're gonna get mad at anyone, it has to be the corporations that keep doing this thing to you, not to me. They stopped hiring me about 7 years ago. That's why this exact thing happened to me. This exact thing. They go and they get a bunch of contractors. They have contract companies that go and hire people that are not Americans for cheaper, and then they bring them in, and then it looks like American companies are hiring Americans, but they're not. They're contract companies, and the contractors are not from here. But like shooting up the place is not the answer. It's ridiculous. It's funny how we have to have that conversation almost every week now.
And I would just like to say
70% or something.
70%. I just would like to say that over the past few weeks, we've had a number of violent incidents with Americans shooting Indian workers. One was killed and was saying, "Get out of our country, stop taking our jobs," that sort of thing. The Indian workers will tell you that when they were recruited, they thought they were these special employees. They were coming over here to fill jobs that nobody else could fill. They had no idea that they were coming over to be cheap labor. And to a man and woman, the American workers we talk to say they have no animosity towards the Indian workers. They feel that they are being exploited by the system just as the American workers are.
This will be a good.
So there we go. Ergo Josh, Adam Dunn. I'm on your team, but we need to get serious about this thing, because crying and complaining about corporations taking over and like replacing us and stuff, that's going to happen. That's going to happen no matter what. Take it from someone who this has happened to a couple times now. Mind you, In Silicon Valley, I was a UX UI designer, I was QA, I did some illustration, some cartoon work and stuff for some clients, but for the most part, it's, technical, geeky stuff, programming, designing, and then add to the fact that now they have like computers that'll read through resumes and kick the majority of them out. I'm not 100% sure what we're doing here, kids. I don't know why you continue to not work on your own projects. Work on your own stories, direct your own things, write your own things, write music, and work together with each other. These guys have you thinking that the market is full. Meanwhile, they're working on Kung Fu Panda 27. How many remakes of things do we need? And the art community is just sitting there waiting for scraps. What are we doing? I have been writing my own stuff, drawing my own stuff. I have my friends that make music. I have friends that write. I have friends that shoot film, and we're all working on our own stuff. We're all pitching our own stuff. We're all doing our own stuff. Because if you continue to hitch your wagon to people who don't care if you pay your rent or not, and then you wonder why life is tough, and let me explain this to you, they aren't worried about you. They're not worried about you at all. You're gonna have to trust me on that one. I'm not saying everybody. Let's go ahead and say that. I'm not saying everybody. You might have some bosses out there that are cool, and good for you. Hang on to them. The majority of these guys out here are out here for a buck, and they will milk you and squeeze you and wring you out until you have nothing left. That has happened to me. Trust me when I tell you, work on your own things. Build your own audience. It's cool. Like if that's your ultimate goal and your life's passion is to work for Disney, have at it. But you need to go in there with your eyes wide open. So I wish all of you artists nothing but luck. I wish you nothing but success. And if you've gotten this far in this video, please hit that like button. Go ahead and send this video on over to all the other creative people that you know. And hit that subscribe button because I'm working on cartoons, I'm working on illustrations, I'm working on kids' books, all that stuff. So come and join the conversation and hang out with me. And with that, I'm out.